Greetings to internet citizens and welcome to Python training. In this tutorial, we are going to talk about objects in Python. Now, almost everything is considered as an object in Python 3, like functions, variables, and even code. Now, object has three important parameters. Let's say the first one is ID. Now, ID is a unique identifier of a particular instance of an object, while type identifies the class of an object. And finally, the value is the content of an object. Now, there are two types of objects in Python 3. The first one is the mutable, which has a liability to change. And the second one is the immutable objects that doesn't has the liability to change. Now, for the example, you can say that dictionary and lists, they all are the examples of mutable objects in Python. And numbers, string, tuples, they are the example of immutable objects. In some cases, it may seem like numbers and strings are the mutable objects, but you need not to get confused. To find out if the object is mutable or immutable, you can find this out by the function called as ID. Now, whatever we have discussed in this presentation, let's try to implement that into the real coding examples. So here is my Python shell, and let's take a real life example of type. First of all, I have written these three parameters into the comment section over here so that you cannot forget them. So as discussed, let's first of all find the type of X. So you can do that by simply writing as type, and into the brackets you can write here as X. So as I've suggested, that type defines the class of an object, and you can see that the class of X is integer based. Now let's move on towards the IDs, which are the unique identifiers. So if I wish to find the ID of X, then I need to write ID, and into the brackets let me just write the X and I'll hit enter. Then you can see that here is your unique identifier. Now if you still remember, some second ago I've told you people that you can identify by the ID if the object is mutable or immutable. So what you can see that this is the unique identifier of X, where the value of X is 2. But if I'll do the same thing with Y equals to 2, and if I'll find the ID of Y, then you can see that there is not any change in these both of the identifiers. But if you remember in the presentation, I've told you that numbers are the immutable objects, so their ID is not changing over here. But if I do the same thing with the lists, which is the mutable object, so let's define a list. So for example, let me write here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and let me add the big brackets, and let me find the ID of list. So you can see that this is the unique identifier of list, and the stored values in list is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do the same thing, but this time with list 1, and I'm storing the same values again. And you can guess that if this is the mutable objects, then the unique identifier should change. So let's check this out. List 1, same values are stored, and let's see the output. Then you can see that yes, here is a difference between these two IDs. Here the number is ending with 680, and here the number is ending from 728. So as I have suggested that if the IDs are changing, so as I have suggested some seconds ago that yes, the lists are the mutable objects and numbers are the immutable objects. So you can easily find this out, that if the object is mutable or immutable by this way. So I would suggest you to try more of it, because this was a very important class to clear your base and the basics. See you into the next movie.